All right. Welcome all to the Crew Philosopher podcast. I am your host, the one, the only, the Crew Philosopher here. And I'm joined back again with my good friend, Saren. I remember this time.
Wow. Gee, thanks. Glad to be here. Thank you for
Back
having me.
again, back to back. Saren, how have you been
Yes.
since we last recorded?
I've been here. I've been alive. I'm using my mic this time. So there's that. That's different.
She is
But I'm
using the
good.
mic.
I'm good.
Um, just so you
How
know,
have you
your
been?
your video is dragging a little bit. I don't know if that's do you have any software running on your laptop?
Mm-mm. But yours is dragging a little bit too.
Really?
So
So that's probably yours.
yes. Wow. Gee, thanks.
But it's fine.
What can
Uh
I do to fix that?
I mean,
Maybe
there's
because I have this
nothing
open.
really except like just making sure that you don't have any other programs running or even you have your web, like your browser
I
open.
just closed it. So let's see.
Okay. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
if
that's what it was.
okay, yeah.
How is it now?
It's definitely like a lot better. It's good.
Okay, I'll use my phone then.
It's good.
That's so
Um,
whack. Okay.
no, listen, we gotta do what we gotta do. Uh, and like I said, I'm more audio over anything. So even if the video lags, it is what it is. So I'm glad you've been well. I've been well also since our last recording. I wanted to ask you on air because I know I asked you privately, but I wanted to get your reaction to your first show because you
Oh,
were in the comments a little bit in the videos. In the TikToks, I saw you in the comments and engaging with people. I don't know how long that can last really. I
why?
engage because I engage, but I feel like I have like a thick skin to engage.
Yeah.
So like I'm not really too I've been called a black supremacist and a coon. So I've been called
Oh
so
wow.
so I know how to really deal with the internet.
hmm
But I was like, oh, I don't know if if Saren's really if she's really equipped to battle with the because there's some trolls in there.
What did I say?
Well, no, it wasn't anything you said. I'm saying because I saw you commenting, so I was like, oh, if she's commenting in these videos, then she probably is reading a lot more comments than she's commenting on as well. Oh no,
Mm-mm.
okay, fair enough, fair enough.
After
I was
the
worried.
no, there's no need to be worried because after the two that I commented, I was just like, I don't really care anymore. I mean, I didn't care to begin with,
Got
like,
you.
because I'm the type of because I put out content as well.
Yes,
So especially YouTube is ruthless for some reason. People are yeah. So I've gotten some crazy comments as well. And it's just like sometimes it's just fun to poke at them, but I never like go back and forth like I'm gonna argue you down type of
yeah,
situation. If you have your opinion, I have my opinion. All right, cool.
it is what it is.
Gone with the wind. On to the
No,
next.
that's a great attitude to have. I feel like
Yeah.
for me, early on, maybe I was someone who really I never got down with the comments, but I could definitely get overwhelmed if the opinion
hmm
that I had was so opposite the opinion of the people who were watching and they were
Yeah.
commenting and just trying to battle. Because I'm someone who also likes to engage. So it wasn't just reading comments. It was I would read a comment and I would respond. I would, read a
hmm
comment, I would respond. And so sometimes there's just so many comments where you're like, okay, I'm getting drained. I'm starting to think about certain things. And then I remember one
Right.
time where I was doing a podcast and it was the first time I experienced where before I said something, I was
hmm
thinking about what the response would be in the comments. And I
hmm
and that's when I had to say, well, look, I have to find a way to exist in a world, with comments because I don't want the what I perceive to be the backlash that will come later on to impact what I'm going to say and make me
Exactly.
less likely to say what I feel like saying in a moment.
Exactly.
So, but look, I think Did a good job. Did a good job. Did a good job.
I
I was
did
watching. I
think,
was lurking.
yeah, and I had a feeling too. So I was like, he's probably gonna. Well, I didn't want to like give you a negative what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't want to automatically assume that you would be like, oh, here she goes, she's being emotional, she's being a woman. Da, 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 da. I was like, let me give him the benefit of the doubt. Like I'll comment, but I'm not gonna do too much because I also did look at other videos because I was curious. Because like I said before, like I didn't even realize you had a TikTok for the
Uh,
podcast. And because I really just get on, post what I gotta post and keep it moving. So I'm looking through and I'm watching other clips. I'm like, okay, he doesn't really engage. So I'll keep in that same vein because I
mm,
don't want to like disrupt your flow. So yeah.
Gotcha. Well, we have a full slate today, a full slate of
Mhm.
stuff. Hopefully, we'll get through most of our outline, like unlike we did last week.
I completely went left.
Yeah, but I do think it was a very interesting and important conversation that people needed to hear about the
Mhm.
street harassment because and one of the comments from the TikTok before we move on, there was this guy, and he was like, "Yeah, man, she's I think she's an asshole, or something like that, or something to that vein." And I was like, "I don't. That's not really Saren. Like, she's one of the nicest people I know.
But
Maybe
he
he called
called
you,
me a oh dang, that's crazy.
yeah." And he said something like, "Yeah, like she's acting like it's hard being a woman out here getting approached, or like, woe is me." And I was trying to explain it, and I've heard that point of view from men before of how it because from the male perspective, we deal with the opposite a lot, which is women don't pay no attention to you at all. You go
Mhm.
through life and you're invisible, really.
Mhm.
And so when we hear women talking about the burden of being approached, like woe is me, all of these guys want to fuck me. For us, it's like, oh, woe is you. Oh, we need to go ahead and pass a law, right? Like, and so I understood what he was saying. I was trying to explain to him that it's just a different experience walking the street out here, and I, I don't think guys, because it's hard to really put yourself in the
In somebody
mind
else's
of a
shoes.
woman because, and we'll move on to this week's topics real quick.
Mhm.
When I had my back injury, right?
Mhm.
I was, using a cane, walking around. Didn't really want to walk too far to certain places.
Pimp name slip back, yeah. Mhm.
Uh, and I remember I was, going to physical therapy, and the thought hit me, oh my goodness, this is what it's like being a woman. Like being a woman is like being a disabled man. Because for the first time in my life,
Sorry.
it's true. For the first time in my life, I realized I'm vulnerable.
Boom.
I'm I'm vulnerable. I started having weird thoughts in the elevator. Like, man, what if this guy just like, you know,
Tries to knock you out from
takes
behind.
my wallet? I can't do nothing.
Exactly. You're
And
disabled.
I realized this is what it's like to be a woman. It's like being a man, but disabled.
Hmm. And a
So,
lot less strong.
well, yeah, when you're disabled, like, when you have if you don't have, no legs, or in my case, I had a bad back and a cane, you are that strong. You can't really move. I wasn't running nowhere. I, I wasn't. I wasn't
That's so
running.
sad.
I wasn't running nowhere with my cane, right? Like it kind of was what it was. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, guys, think about that next time. Before being a woman is like
Wow.
being a man with a disability. Just remember that.
Dubai has changed, yo. That's
All
crazy.
right. I don't know who Jabaya is, but I don't know. I don't know who that person is.
My bad.
But no. So this week's topics, these slate of topics, we're starting with a topic that Saren picked out, although it was on my mind too. I'm just gonna be perfectly honest. Which was
Thank you.
it was last week or 2 weeks ago? It was last week.
The
The
2 weeks
Bongo
ago?
song came out. It's a new song.
Yeah, it's fairly new, out of season. We can already let's just get that out the way. It's completely out of season. Didn't make any sense to me why it dropped now, but
It feels
yes,
like
it
a
is
summer
still
song.
recent. Yes.
So Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion released a song called Bongos, which is pretty much a song about their ass. Um, it is the song is about is their ass, and you know what? I want to pull up the lyric. So Brianna, Saren,
Mm?
I want you to,
Who? I don't
I
know who
want
that
you,
is.
I want you to let the people know why you wanted to speak about this topic while I pull up the lyrics.
Okay, so not a heavy topic at all, but I did see because my area of gaining information, especially on a social celebrity news tip, is via YouTube. Yours is Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously when stuff drops and it gets heavy coverage, everybody's talking about it. And I can guarantee you on everybody that I listen to on general consensus, they all said the same thing. The lyrics were subpar. The visual was great, but they were expecting more in regards to delivery. And one in particular that's why it grabbed my attention. One commenter in particular mentioned that there was an interview that Cardi did where she was the interview asked her if the song was going to be like another WAP. And she was straight up and down, absolutely no. It's, we put our heart, what she say, our soul and sweat and tears into it, into the choreography. It's not another WAP song. Everybody said it's basically another WAP song. And that was disappointing. And everybody pretty much, touched on the fact that, the over sexualization of women in hip hop is getting old. So I thought that was interesting. I wanted to talk to a man because you can speak from the male gaze aspect of it all because of the fact that obviously as a woman, and I don't even really care for anything that's overtly sexual anyway. I didn't watch the video because I already knew what to expect from like the visuals and from the commentators. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be interested in seeing a whole bunch of booty shaking and all of that. So did you watch it? Did you listen
No, I
to
did not
it?
watch the video. I heard the song. I heard some of the song because Joe Budden played the song on his podcast because he didn't
Mm-hmm.
like it really. So he still
I'm
played
not
a couple of
surprised.
it. Um, why do you say that?
I don't see Joe Budden liking a song like this. I
Well, he
would
likes Cardi
assume
B.
that don't mean he has to like the song though.
Yeah, true.
You
Um,
know,
so
oh, when you
I'm I'm
giggle, it's
I'm I want to read some of the lyrics, right?
here we go.
And of course, it starts with this really bong 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 sound. I'm not going to read that part. So
He
I'm gonna get
just
to
did.
bong 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 bong.
You enjoying yourself too much.
So the verse,
Oh
Cardi starts
god.
the verse. Now I want to remind the people who are watching and listening. I'm reading lyrics. The lyrics that I'm reading. Don't be weird, yo. Don't chop this up and do stuff with it. Don't be weird. All right.
Bong 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 bong.
Bong, bong. All right. Verse one, Cardi B. Nigga, eat this ass like a plum. Plum. This pussy tight like a nun. Nun. Better chew it up like it's gum. Gum. Then wipe your mouth when you done. Okay. Let me finish. I'm hot like Nevada. Pussy get popped. Pinata. Bitch, I look like money. Like money. You could print my face on $1. And then it goes, beat it up. Bang, 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 bang. Beat it up. Bang, 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 bang. Beat it up. Bang, 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 bang. Beat it up, Bong. Okay. Verse 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off. Hey, honey, I'm home. Shoes getting kicked off. Uh, every time I turn around, a bitch pissed off. Aha. Little dusty ass hoes need a lint brush. Woo! You gonna settle down? You gonna live with him? What? I don't even want to post a pic with him. No. The bag he just bought me. Wait, the bag he just bought me was a Goyard. I don't know what a Goyard is. Goyard.
Me neither.
That ain't your nigga. He is both ours.
What?
Pussy tight like a nun. None. Counting hundreds up with my thumb. Thumb. I don't care where you from. From. Better beat this shit like a drum. Occur. Don't be talking shit like you know me. Woo. I ride dick like a pony. Don't be weird with this, guys. I'm reading lyrics. I'm reading lyrics. I'm reading lyrics. Girl, that nigga looked like a brokey. Real hot girl shit. Go and fuck with his homie. Here. Do I have to read more of this song?
No,
Those are the
you could
first
have
two
stopped
verses.
after the first verse, honestly, because wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Um, so
Oh, I found that article, by the way.
that's fine. So hear my thoughts on the song. I'm not a Cardi B fan. I am not a Meg Thee Stallion fan, really. I haven't really listened to their music that much. Uh, I used to have a lot of beef with Cardi B because I felt like Cardi B was a caricature of the worst stereotypes about black people.
Which is
Um,
ironic.
and she's not even black.
Right.
Uh, but I hated, the bad dialect. I hated her being like rewarded for being or putting herself out there as a very unintelligent person. I hated that occur shit she was doing.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't like none of that stuff. And then she blew up, became a huge rapper, won awards. Watching this girl go from loving hip hop and being ignorant to the Grammys, it was just a wild thing to witness. Because we always had whole shit in hip hop, but at least the hoes were talented hoes, or uh like Little Kim could rap.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was still whole music though. Like
But she could deliver.
yeah, like she was a rapper. We had rappers, and this just seemed
Rapper.
like I don't know. It seemed like taking like what started to happen was we were going to find people who are selling sex, and then hey, can you put this on a beat so we can make money off of it? Not people who are lyrically gifted and make them rap about sex. I know that sounds like the same thing, but there is a slight
It
difference.
does.
Yeah, the difference is one has talent. So where you are probably more concerned with the like the sexualization part, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't care about that at all. Um, well, there's nothing I don't care. I just don't know where to draw the line between sexualization and like self expression, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm as someone who is an artist myself, who has an artistic view of the world, a creative mind. I'm very very sensitive about putting constraints on people, putting constraints on artists. I believe people should be able to tell the stories they want to tell, express themselves how they want to express themselves. But then you have the flip side to it. In this country, where we are a minority in this country, you always know that there's a perception problem. And unfortunately, if you are someone with dark skin and you are pushing certain images, especially images that can be viewed as uh fulfilling already believe or historically believe stereotypes that could have a negative impact on people outside of yourself. And so where do you kind of draw the line between those two things? it's a complicated, balancing act.
So how do you feel about like Sexy Red and Sukihana?
See, I just view those women as dirty. See, that's the difference, and I don't know why,
Ouch.
right? Like,
Do
no,
they give off like you don't take a shower type of dirty or you carry diseases type of
so
dirty?
some of this is also going to just be. I'm being quite honest with you. Some of this is just that Cardi and Megan uh fit my misogyny in ways Sexy Red and Sukihana don't.
Is it because we can't even say they're not as vulgar? Does that play into the whole they're lighter?
I don't find Sexy Red and Sukihana to be attractive at all.
But
To
you
me,
do Cardi and Meg.
I think they are both attractive women. Meg more so than Cardi, but we are Cardi too. Only because Cardi, has had like the ass stuff done and all of that stuff. Meg
Yeah,
seems like she's more like homegrown. Um,
that's interesting.
yeah. So I think because I find Cardi and Meg more attractive, I don't
Hmm.
view them as like I get repulsed when I see Sexy Red.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Sukihana, I think she's just gross.
You know, there's going to be listeners that are going to play into the whole, of course, he likes the lighter ones rhetoric.
maybe it's true. I don't know. See, I'm not someone who is so arrogant to believe I don't succumb to, colorism or, you know, like you heard me just say that Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion fit my misogyny better.
Yeah,
So I
it's just interesting to hear it. So it's just like,
yeah,
it's
now I
kind
want
of
to
like
say
a breath of fresh air.
I don't think it's true, but I'm not saying it can't be true. Yeah, I don't think based on my history, you can call me a colorist per se. I mean,
Wouldn't because I went to school with you and I knew, yeah.
see what I'm saying? So I don't think I'm a colorist in that sense. I could be a someone who accepts certain things from beautiful women that I don't from women who I don't deem beautiful. I know that's true about me. Absolutely.
And that's honestly, I think that more people need to be more honest about that fact.
Oh no, absolutely. I know for me, I
Yes.
let beautiful women get away with murder.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Like if
Okay.
a beautiful woman is like on trial for like
Mm-hmm.
murdering her ex boyfriend,
Mm-hmm. Let her go free.
I could have no shot at all, and I'm still gonna be in the jury room like, hey man, this is wrong.
Oh my gosh. Yo. Yo.
I'm
I
gonna be
hope that this is so beyond off topic, but because of that statement right there, I hope that judges take that into consideration.
and it just me by the way. There's been multiple studies on beautiful women get less jail time than everybody else. They're more likely to be believed when they follow a police report. They of course we know that they have access to better partners, which is very important. People downplay that point, but when you have access to the richest and the best, it means that your life is going to be a lot better than women who have faces that are challenging. Yeah, like beauty privilege is a real thing. And I know that it works on me. Now, I'm honest still with attractive women. I have told attractive women to their faces things about themselves that they don't like because I can put aside um my
You can separate the two.
yeah, but it's still there though. So yeah, it wouldn't
That's
shock me if
honest.
I just view Sexy Red and that Sukihana woman which with such disdain because I don't find them, physically appealing to me. But no, I got you. But yeah, I think with the whole sexualization thing, women have to make up their mind on one thing. Either A, you
What
want
would that be?
you either A, you want the freedom because women fought in this country for the freedom of self-expression and personal autonomy, which is just, a fancy way of saying They wanted to pretty much be able to exist in this world and live by their own rules, you know, and create the art they wanted to create. You know, we have, you know, the Madonnas, and we had the I'm trying to think who else was kind of at that edge of female sexual expression. Right, like, you know, I'm not well versed in this area, but there's been many women who have pushed for women having the right to express themselves, especially sexually. We have the sexual revolution. We have all of these things. So women have to make up their mind whether they want to be allowed to be expressive about their sexuality, or if they view this as exploitation or sexualization. Like, you can't go back and forth.
I don't know if that's a fair argument in the sense of like, this is the thing about generalizations because, and this is another argument I'm seeing too, online is that yeah, there's a certain group of women that want to be free and express themselves and they want to be able to do so without being exploited, but there's also a group of women like myself, like leave me alone. I don't care to show everything and express myself because I feel like that's opening a door to okay, what am I trying to say? I understand that there are not just men, just people in general who struggle, who have certain struggles, and temptation is a thing for them. That might be an area of weakness. And not only that, but I prefer to be covered up in certain aspects. I don't feel like it's necessary to shake what my mama gave me. I don't think it's necessary to show a bunch of cleavage. You can still be sexy and classy. I feel. I don't want to throw shade on like a Suki or a Sexy Red, but it's like I feel like that's extreme. If that's what you want to do, then you do that. But you
But
also
that's what's happening.
but yeah, but I feel like you kind of in a sense kind of general. You said that one statement, you said that women have to make up their minds, right? And that's kind of hard to do because there's certain women that are perfectly okay with that. There's certain women that present like they're
I,
okay with
I know
that,
what
but
you're
they're
saying.
actually not. And
So
then there's certain that just aren't.
totally get you. Let me kind of rephrase what I'm saying, because that is a bit confusing. What I'm saying is, um women kind of, you know, fought for the right of women in general to be allowed to, um you know, be expressive about their sexuality and sex, and just like men were doing, and et cetera, et cetera. What I'm saying is, women as a collective have to come to a decision on, um either each individual woman has the right to be as expressive as she wants to be about her sexuality,
Mm-hmm.
or there should be kind of these, you know, rules of conduct that we live under as women. I'm saying each individual woman has to pick a framework, so to speak, because it's not
Unfortunately,
fair to
mhm.
Sukihana and Sexy Red, you know, for them to be called out for, um um contributing to the sexualization of women if they grew up under the belief that being sexually expressive is empowering, which was the message. And so it's kind of like it's like you're switching up on these people in real time, which is confusing. It will be for me.
I can sort of understand that, but that's when it comes down to like the individual, you know, because granted, yeah, you can grow up underneath that umbrella, but and that also plays into people's expectations versus reality. You expect a certain reality to come to pass when you say, okay, I want to be able to express myself. And that could mean anything. But when you're presented with a certain reality in the sense of like, for instance, a Sexy Red or a Sukihana, then it's like, whoa, 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 that's not what I meant. I meant A and B. You're doing Y and Z. So then it's just, I agree with you. Then it's just like, okay, well, what did you want?
So you're
But
saying they went
then
too far? Is that what is like? Yeah. Okay,
I'm saying that like people put out, they say certain things not expecting a certain outcome. And then when you get that outcome, then it's just like, okay, that's not what I meant. But then that's what you meant. That's not what I meant. That's, if that makes sense.
I know what you're saying. There's also kind of ties. And one thing I want to ask you though, you said that there was like you was watching these videos and people were talking about the sexualization of women in hip hop. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
ask you a serious question because there's been the complaint about the sexualization of women in hip hop, but for the longest time, it was because men were doing the sexualizing. So it was like the rapper, but he would have all the women in there, naked, shaking their ass. There's the famous
Mm-hmm.
tip drill video that I saw, by the way, back when BTM Cut was on TV. But so you have right, and so I guess I'm saying, is there a difference though between the male rapper who has the naked women in his video as like sex objects versus the female rapper who makes herself the sex object? Like, I don't see any difference.
The only, and this could even be a reach, the only difference is that women can now argue that they're the ones in charge of how far it goes. It's no longer we're in the background just shaking it to shake. Now we're in the forefront shaking, but also the one that's rapping. So it's kind of like that's more so like feminism, women empowerment. To me, I agree with you. It's the same. You just happen to be the one that's rapping, but you're still demoralizing yourself.
Well, you threw demoralizing in the back end. I didn't use that word. But what I'm saying is,
That's me. I'm
no,
not
I
saying
got
you're
you.
saying that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Uh, yeah. So essentially, it's kind of like saying, I view it as just like a prostitute with a pimp versus like a prostitute. It's like, you're still a
Like a
prostitute.
madam.
Whore,
It,
whatever word you want to use. It's just like you're still the prostitute who prostitutes herself is still a prostitute, whether she has a pimp or not. To
no,
be a
I'm just saying.
prostitute,
Oh,
good.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying to be a prostitute just means to sell your body for compensation. Whether you
Mm-hmm.
have a pimp or not is irrelevant to you being a prostitute. And so I think what these women are doing is not that different than what the male rappers were doing for a long time up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so a certain degree, they could make the argument that, hey, there wasn't this call for women to not be sexualized, even though there was a call for that to stop happening. We had a whole thing called Hip Hop versus America that was on BET. But their argument would be, hey, why can't we do this when the male rappers have been doing it for years? And that's a pretty decent argument. I
I
know for
get it.
you, yeah,
I get it, but at the same time, I don't know, like because it's basically a continuation of what you just said. You know, your prostituting themselves still. Why not do something different? But I know that like it's not gonna sell, unfortunately, if a bunch of women came out just being conscious rappers and just leaving it at that. Like,
so do you believe these women are women who are natural? Like, do you think these women are naturally hoish, or do you believe these are women who are creating these hoish personas for financial gain because that's kind of the lane in music to make money?
slippery slope, because again, that comes down to the individual. Some people grow up in a certain environment, that's what they're used to,
Yes, I'm,
and
I'm
they
asking you, what do you think?
I think it's a slippery slope. Because some people, like I said, some people, that's what they know, that's what they're used to. Some people, they know that it's going to make money, but that's not how they grew up. But they will succumb to it because they're trying to make sales.
Yeah, yeah. I'm asking, like, in your opinion, based on what you're seeing from the landscape, do you like which do you think it's more
I
of? You
said
think
it's
it's
a slippery slope. I really don't know. I
okay?
really
That's cool.
don't
That's
know.
cool. Say, yeah, got you.
I would have to ask, I would have to sit down with an individual female rappers and find out like, where you come from, why are you like this,
Yeah, I don't
that
think
type of
this.
thing.
Yeah, I don't think this is kind of like them playing a role. I think these are like women who are
You think
whole.
across the board, every woman that is a female rapper now
Well, you
that
see, there you
sells.
go using that word, every woman. I said in general. You see, you do that thing again. I said in
What do you
general.
mean again? When did I do it
I
before?
when you added that remember before you added a word to like they're like degrading themselves. I didn't say that. Remember when you did, and I was like,
I never said you said that. I added at the end that I feel that way.
yeah. So I didn't say every woman. What I'm saying is, I think if you look at the totality of the landscape, I think
Mm-hmm.
most of these women are women who are Jezebels, like in their soul,
Wow.
in their what? I think I think I think these are Jezebels who are rapping about who they are. Like this is not to me like what was happening before, where you had like gangster rappers who were not living that life at all,
Mm.
and we're out here like selling something that they would never do. I think these women are absolutely fucking and sucking as much as they claim they are. I believe they are like using men for money, the whole city girl stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they are living what they are preaching.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think this is like the problem we had before where gangster rappers who were rapping things that usually looking at their life is like, hey man, you wasn't gang banging back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
That was selling something that you weren't yourself living up to. This I think there's a lot of Jezebels around.
You won't
So
say demoralizing, but she'll call them Jezebels. That is hilarious to
Jezebel
me.
sounds way better than demoralizing or whores. Um,
You've been throwing out whorish and hoes and prostitutes.
that's why I landed on Jezebel. It was either Jezebel or harlots. I felt like harlot was a word that people wouldn't understand. So Jezebels. I think there's a
What
Jezebel.
century are we in?
There's a Jezebel spirit running through hip hop right now, and I'm a hypocrite because
Ooh,
I like whole stuff,
good to know.
and I'm
I'm
not
gonna
proud
pray.
of this.
I'm
I'm
gonna
not.
pray for you.
I'm not
I'm gonna be
proud of it.
praying.
I'm not proud of it, but I'm not going to lie on this podcast. I like I don't like it like in my circle, but I like it around. If that makes sense. Like I would never be with a woman who like does these things, but
But you like to absorb it.
I
You
do.
like to watch it. That's interesting.
I do. And I'm not saying this is a good thing. I'm not saying that I'm telling you where I am right now in 2023. This is who I am.
Oh, the first step is acknowledging it. So 12-step program.
I
It's gonna take a few steps.
I do. I do. And who knows? Who knows? But we can leave this conversation and this leads me, we've been talking about culture and everything. This leads me into my topic now, which is why do black people push so hard against the two-parent household structure? Now, this past week on Twitter, I got into a nice exchange with some people about two-parent households, right? And the original tweet was from this woman who said that, you know, it was something to the effect of, two-parent households, or just because somebody comes from a two-parent home doesn't mean that they're, you know, doing better than people from single-parent homes, something to the effect of that general point. And I hopped into the replies and I said, well, you know, by almost every metric, children from two-parent homes do better than children from single-parent homes. And I got a lot of pushback with plenty of arguments that were from my mind, nonsensical and
Mm-hmm.
easily uh debatable. So one woman, and these were almost all black women, by the way. I want to add that in the conversation. Uh, one one person was saying that the only reason why two parents potentially do better than single parent homes are because of the financial contribution of the second parent, right? Meaning that if you simply gave single mothers the extra income that the father would give if he was in the household, all of
Mhm.
the all of the gaps that you see between children that come from single parent homes and children that come from two parent homes would disappear. And I was like, well, no, that's obviously not true.
Mhm.
Because when you control for finances, you still see that children from two parent homes do better than children from one parent homes. Even if you compare children from two parent homes who are poorer than children who come from a single parent who happens to have more money. Now, is the gap as extreme? No, because resources is a big deal, right? It is a big
Yeah, it
deal.
is.
Having financial resources, for some people, is the difference between sleeping in a piss poor apartment versus being in the street.
Mhm.
But it isn't the only advantage. So there have been numerous studies that show that children that come from two parent homes are more likely to graduate from high school,
Mhm.
more likely to go to college, more likely to graduate college if they go to college. They're more likely to earn higher wages in the future, most likely as a result of graduating college. Um, they themselves are more likely to get married and have children in the future. They are less likely to commit a crime. Um, these are the many advantages. Oh, they are more emotionally stable. They have less behavioral problems, less emotional health problems. These are the obvious advantages of a two-parent household. And some of these things, as it pertains to boys, boys are less likely to commit rape.
Oh God.
If we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. Rape don't got nothing to
Whew.
do with finances.
No, that's very
None.
true.
Zero. That has to do with the thing that you get from your father that you don't get from your mother, in particular, boys.
But what does that have to do with like, oh my gosh, I hate this. It's always a slippery slope. There's always a little like, oh, but what about this scenario?
There's no what about with
Obviously,
two parent households.
actually, there is the
Give it
things
to me.
that you're naming. Okay, so say for instance, what about when okay, we all hear these stories. I don't like this topic, but fraternities when they're running rampant raping these girls and they come
Mm-hmm.
from two parent households.
Yeah, that does nothing to go against what I just said.
How not? You're saying that the stats are better when they come from a two parent household.
They are. So the men who are in fraternities who commit sexual assault,
Mm-hmm.
there are less of those than the men who never go to college who commit sexual assault.
Okay.
Like when you talk about the stats and you talk about trends, you're not saying that there aren't outliers, and you're not saying every individual. So no one is saying that every individual person who comes from a two parent home does better off than someone who comes from a single parent home, because there are obvious outliers.
So isn't an outlier a what about? You said there's no what abouts. That
No, no, no.
sounds
An
the
outlier
same.
is an exception. Like, except no one. We don't. You don't make rules around exceptions. They are exceptions by the definition of the word, right? So if you're, and part of the reason why I was engaging so long with these individuals is because these people were trying to pass this belief that it's close, or yeah, single two parent households might be better, but really not by much, and it's really because of the money. And I was pushing back against that because if you're even selling the perception that it's close, I think you are misleading black people. Part of the reason why we have uh, a lot of issues, more so than other people, other communities, is because of how many of our households are not two-parent households of people who are biologically all related to the offspring, meaning man, woman get together, have a child. Those two parents live in the household with that child. I'm not talking about step parent situations. I'm not talking about, aunties and grandmothers. We have a lot of that going on as well, right? And
Mm-hmm.
God bless these people. But the data is the data. And so it got me thinking, why are all of these black women pushing against, this two-parent household construction so hard? And then I started to think, well, these aren't like normal black women. These are like black women who are educated from university. And no, this matters. Trust me, that small variable matters a
Mm-hmm.
lot when I get to my conclusion.
No, I was only giggling because I'm like, what are they, aliens? It's like,
and here's why. When you go to the university, there's been a lot of conversations about what's happening on college campuses and how there's a lot of woke stuff going on and beliefs, and you have like there's kind of an anti man. I think there's an anti male disease running rampant in America right now, but I think it is concentrated on college campuses amongst white women and black women.
amongst white women?
Yes, trust me. I'm in these Twitter streets, right? Um,
Okay.
and so you see a lot of even the Black Lives Matter. If you ever go back and research the Black Lives Matter organization, it was
Mm-hmm.
started by three lesbians, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And when you will look into their like mission statement, they had no sentences, no paragraphs dedicated to family, the nuclear family. It was
I mean, why
about,
would they?
well, if you build your entire organization on black men being shot by police, you would want to inquire, hey, why are so many black men getting shot by police?
But you said that it was three lesbians in the modern era, so why it kind of answers itself.
I don't think it does, because then you can ask, well, why would three lesbians be making an organization about black men being shot by police?
I mean, this is gonna sound bad, but didn't correct me if I'm wrong, but last I heard about the organization, weren't they like committing fraud and like
Yep,
stealing money? Okay.
yep, that is
So
exactly how things played out. But
yeah.
if you if you so just going back to what I was saying, um you have these black women who go to university, who leave the university, and they pick up through womanist or feminist studies, and there's a lot of interesting majors you can go into, and they all kind of have this same uh um this same viewpoint that if you look at America, the problem with America are these power structures. So, white supremacy, patriarchy, and the way to liberation is to get rid of these power structures, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
if you buy into the patriarchal power structure argument, meaning that America is a patriarchal society, and all of its ills are due to the patriarchy, thus to cleanse the system or to create a fair world, you then have to destroy the patriarchy. This creates an anti-male authority feeling amongst people. And I believe that is why there's this pushback against the concept of the nuclear family. It's not really that people have a problem with the nuclear family. They have a problem with the perceived head of that nuclear family, which would be a heterosexual black male. In our case, because we're talking about black people.
Yeah.
That is what I think is behind all of this. That is my suspicion.
I don't disagree. I do wonder though, and this is not me giving pushback. I'm just wondering. I want to put that out there. Um, are Black men in a position to properly be that head that we need because of the fact that there is not a majority demonstration of the nuclear family?
The obvious answer is no, which is my point. That's the point that I keep making, is that what and the reason why they are not is because they're like, if you don't even have the goal to, hey, or the agreement amongst the majority of a people that, hey, the way we need to structure our families are X, Y, and Z, right? If you don't have that
Mhm.
information and there's no aspiring to it, what happens? You have a generation of Black boys who were raised in households of either absent biological fathers or weak ones as well.
Mhm.
Not doing their jobs as fathers, right?
Mhm.
Now that they're growing older, to your point, this system wasn't really modeled for them. And now
Mhm.
you also have this subset of Black people, right? Meaning the Black elite, as I call them, people who go to these universities and then they graduate, who are coming out with this anti-Black male sentiment, believing that, oh, Black men aren't really like necessary, really. You know,
So, sorry, go ahead.
the Black nuclear family is only important because of the money. It's only the finances. And so if you believe that, it means that you believe that all of this stuff can just, let's just, we need some more government money to go to, single moms, because the dads aren't really important. If you only believe that the importance of the father is financial, then he is replaceable.
Well, I can attest to the fact that I don't, what the heck? Sorry, brain fart. I definitely agree because in my own personal life, I am separated and I'm raising a son and we are all Black. And I can definitely agree that that is something that is, it saddens me that it's not a quote unquote two-parent home. However, I can say that I'm happy that we have a great co-parenting relationship and my son does see the both of us together. But I definitely understand that it's not like a 24/7 two parent household, excuse me, experience. Um I don't know what to expect in the future. I don't know how it's gonna play out. I'm looking at the stats and it's definitely bleak. But I don't know if that will apply to my situation because of the fact that unfortunately the Black community doesn't, well, I don't know about now, but growing up there was no support in the sense of having a healthy co-parenting relationship. And I was, even my therapist, I don't know if you care about me mentioning therapy.
Yeah, you can mention therapy. I don't go,
Okay.
but yeah.
No, that's fine. So I have a she's Black. I have a Black therapist, and she has a traditional nuclear family household setup. So she was talking to me about that. The fact that in our community it's not really supported to have a healthy co-parenting relationship. People actually look at it like it's weird. And I think that's a step right behind the topic that we're currently discussing. So I really don't have anything else to say other than that. I don't have any pushback. I don't have any disagreements. It's kind of a sad topic because of the
Yeah,
fact that
it's
the question is like, where do we go from? Because we have such a rhetoric of, anti. We have like we discussed last week. Well, I don't know if we touched on it, but I know you and I talked about like this, the whole passport bro movement, and then there's Black women divesting. Listen, I'm not mad at it. Do what you gotta do. We have the
listen,
divestment on the women's side. We have the passport bro movement on the male side. It's just that in between where we continue to put each other down, where it's just like, why don't you just do what you're doing over there respectfully
yeah.
and
Here's
just leave it at that?
Here's the problem with the putting each other down. We have to separate being honest about the opposite sex from
Hmm.
putting them down. And this goes both ways. For example, if black women said, "Hey, we have a black male crime problem in our community," I would say,
Hmm.
absolutely. Like, yes, we do. I'm serious. It needs to be fixed.
It's the way you
Um,
said it. Absolutely.
absolutely, absolutely. It needs to be fixed. We need to fix it. Uh, One step in fixing it is, and I will lay out my plan X, Y, and Z, right? Um,
Hmm.
uh, and the same way I'm saying, hey, black women, right now, there's a crop of you. I don't think it's a majority. I think it's a large minority, a large vocal minority who, who is a large vocal minority who have a problem with black male authority.
Yes, I can agree to that.
And
Hmm.
if you and these people are sowing seeds of discord and mayhem in the community.
Mayhem.
Discord and mayhem in the community,
Sorry.
and they got to go. Black women should be like, I agree. That's not to me putting each other down. Now, when you start doing the thing where you start saying, you know, like like black women are like get loud and ghetto, and they don't wear their real hair, and they like once you start doing like those things, the character assassinate oh lord the character assassination stuff on both sides. Black men are broken, dusty, and that to me is putting the other gender down. Is degrading. It's You're just doing it to make yourself feel better. That happens a lot, and it needs to
Hmm.
stop. So I agree. That said, I think that is different than talking about the real. We have real gender war issues to work out.
I
Like
agree.
denying that is not going to make it go away. And uh, you
I
know,
agree.
it like we have to just be honest about these conversations. Like, one day we have to be honest about the fact that co-parenting could be as good as it gets. It's never going to be as good as being in the house.
I
Like,
agree.
as a man, if you do not live under the same roof as your child, your influence is greatly diminished.
Yep.
It's just a fact. And if you find yourself in this situation right now, I'm not saying this to put you down, because where you are right now is where you are. Like, you can't change how you got there. It is what it is. But
Hmm.
but it would just be selfish to me to not say anything to the kids growing up, to not try to help them walk in a different path than the path that we walk, especially when you look at these other communities who are kicking our asses, like the Asians, like the Jews, like the African immigrants, and you're like, wow, they out there running circles around us. What are they doing that we're not doing? They get married. They have kids. They stay married. Like, it's it's you know I, and I tell you, I don't know how to fix it. I have no idea how to fix it, because I myself have no plans on getting married ever. Uh,
See, that's the thing. There's no, and I'm not coming at you about it. I just
mhm.
feel like there's a running rhetoric. Is rhetoric the right term? Um, we talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, but nobody has a solution.
Yeah.
So it gets to the point where it's just like, why are we?
So we have two ways to go, though.
What do you
To your
mean?
point, we can either really try our best to put back together our nuclear family construct, the heterosexual nuclear black family, right? And really, and I mean really have, like, you know, I'm talking about meetings with like scholars who study the subject, because
I
and go
don't
that.
see our community doing that,
Well, I mean,
unfortunately.
mindset is the first thing to anything. Like, changing a culture is
Hmm.
difficult, but it's not impossible. It happens all the time. Cultures change all the time,
Hmm.
so it's doable. And so, to me, we have to pick, or we have to really look into: is there a family structure that can replace the nuclear family? Now, today, there hasn't been any. There's no evidence that there's any other family structure that works as well as the two-parent heterosexual family structure as it pertains to raising productive children in America
I don't
today.
think so. I don't think there is.
So I don't think that's a realistic option, and so it kind of leads us only to repairing the family structure that we see working with Asians, with Jews, with African immigrants and migrants, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to be married. We used to have higher marriage rates than white people. People forget that in America, blacks were married at higher rates than whites were, and then things fell apart. So,
Do you want to discuss that further, or is that like another day?
well, we don't have time for that today, especially because we're at the hour right now, and I have to get to Tyler Perry. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
get to my age, my HIV point, and boy, y'all lucky. Whoa, y'all, man, I was coming in. Listen, Sarah will tell you, I was coming in today with a mission to put my foot into this HIV topic. Boy, y'all lucky I ran out of time. Oh, yeah, because I have to hit Tyler because Tyler Perry is out here giving black people horrible advice.
Let's get to it.
Horrible advice. So what's this? What was a YouTube show, a podcast he was on?
It's a YouTube podcast. One of his actors from one of the newer shows, she has a YouTube show. I don't know if she streams it elsewhere, but she definitely streams it on YouTube. So they sat down together and yeah,
Yeah,
apparently this clip went viral.
yeah. So Tyler's in this clip, and I'm gonna input the clip into the show here. So you'll whoever is listening right now, you would have just heard the clip. He's talking to this woman, and he's basically saying, yeah, that you know, he starts off with a lie. Well, he said that black women are doing better than black men right now. This is no. He said they're making more money right now, right?
I thought that was statistically sound.
It is not. Black men earn more money than black women do. Now, it ain't about much. It's like about like $8,000. So it's close. It's probably the closest amongst any demographic in America. But we still out earn black women. Now, do black women earn more degrees than we do? Yes, they do. Do I think black women will be out earning black men in the next 20, 30 years if there isn't a course correction? I do believe that is true. But today, that is not a factual statement, right?
Okay.
Saren is looking up the stats right now to fact check me. So you'll know in a couple of minutes whether what I said was true or not. And they'll probably give you the median instead of the average, if I had to guess, wherever you get the information from. But until she fact checks me, um, but so he says, yeah, black women they're doing better. They're doing better. They're making more money than black men are, right now, right? And he goes on to say that, but if a woman is making more money than the man, and the man is comfortable in himself and in existing in that relationship, that's fine, right? Like he's pretty much making the argument that a man should not be judged by his bank account to be in a relationship. And he makes an example that even if he can't afford just a light bill, and I'm like, whoa, Tyler, whoa. Tyler is
Yeah, that
giving
definitely was like a
bad.
clutch my pearls.
Tyler is giving advice if we lived in a moral society that was not a capitalist society. And I'm here to tell you guys to do nothing with the information Tyler Perry just gave you. It is horrible, horrible advice in 2023. Horrible. Fellas, I used to make this joke that I was like looking for my Oprah, and I was joking, and I was joking. Like a woman that made more money than me. Never get in a relationship with a woman who makes more money than you. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Women cannot handle the responsibility of being the breadwinner without abusing you eventually, for the most part. So, are there exceptions? Sure. But for most people, when the woman makes more than the man all the time, I'm not talking about the man falls on hard times. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
talking about, I'm talking about like from jump. They get together, she makes more 2 years from now, she makes more 5 years from now. You will be abused. And when I say abused, I'm not talking about she gonna be whipping your ass. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that physically. What I'm saying is
Yeah.
you will be undercut, you will be undermined, you will be spoken to with bass in her voice. Put it like that.
Disrespected.
Yeah, and you know how they get. Okay, it just ain't gonna work. Not in 2023. Don't do it to yourself, fellas. It just ain't gonna work. She's gonna look at you one day while you sleep, and she's wondering why am I here working so hard, and this dude is sleep in the morning. Trust me, it's coming. Can happen. Black women, y'all should stop trying to do this too. Some of y'all trying to do it, it ain't gonna work. You're gonna get bitter. See, we believe that we are these blank slates. We are not. And I'll make jokes. I had the song about getting with a woman and spending all her money that I was going to drop. Still coming, by the way. But these are jokes. If we're being serious, and Sharon, I don't know if she wants to admit this or not. You would not respect a man if you always made more money than he did.
No,
All right,
absolutely
then.
not.
Yeah, they
That's
can't
a
help
give
them.
it.
They can't help themselves, right? It ain't their fault. It just is what it is. Which is why I support the passport bro movement, by the way, because um, it's just easier to be a king somewhere else. See, men are in this position in America right now where, because of the world we created,
Ooh,
we made life so good for women. So
ooh.
women are not doing very well, better than us
I
in
hope
many
that that
cases.
part is paid attention to.
I don't think it is. I think you guys are ungrateful for the world that men of the past have built.
Why am I included in that? What the jeez. Oh my gosh.
I'm saying in general. I think in
Oh my
general,
goodness.
I, I don't think women are grateful for the world that men have built. Like,
You didn't even give me the chance to like agree or disagree. Like that's why.
I'm just saying that's how it looks to me.
Listen, I'm
Men.
the first person to say that I don't. If I could go back in time and smack Susan B. Anthony in the face, I would because I there's certain things that yes, okay, I don't know if I would have asked for equal rights, maybe a few more rights and left it at that. Because like
Well,
I
at
was
the time, most women didn't support the suffrage movement.
yeah.
Yeah, people don't
And
talk about
it
that enough.
they don't because they make it seem like that was like a every woman, all women
There
thing.
wasn't.
And it's like, no, that was not the case. But they pushed and pushed and pushed for it. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You have an expectation of something without considering a specific reality. So when
The
that
outcomes.
reality comes to you, and it's just like, oh, that's not what I meant. And it's like it's too late. Laws have been passed, bills have been passed. Like
Yeah, because a
that's
lot
just
of
what
women are struggling with the fact that they have to like pay bills.
yes,
And
yes.
most women don't want to sell ass, right? That's the thing men have to
Hi.
realize, right?
Hi, hello. I am
Because
woman.
yeah, most women don't want to be a prostitute,
Nope.
even if they can make good money doing it.
Mm-mm, I
So
don't
they end up
care
working regular jobs, um, and most jobs ain't really paying that much. You go to,
at all.
so I think women dominate fast food jobs. They dominate like retail jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And these jobs are necessary. Trust me. We listen. There's nothing worse than going to buy some clothes and there ain't enough cashier. So I'm not disrespecting retail. I think y'all should get paid more money. Not enough where I pay more for my clothes, but more that you can support yourself. Right? But what
You
I'm
say
saying
here's an
is,
extra 50 cents.
yeah, like, but women in America, you guys have it kind of cool, really. In most, like, you get free education, you get to go to school. Um, if you call a cop, somebody's coming. Your husbands can't really beat you up anymore like we used to.
Wow. I'm so sorry.
No, no, I'm saying that's a good thing. But you remember like the rule where if you had like something that wasn't an inch long, you could hit your wife with it or something like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was a law. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could spank your wife the way you spank your child. You know,
Yeah. So
like it.
things like that, and like being able to divorce your spouse, I would be like, okay, I would like the right to do that
Why did
because
you add divorce in there? See, that's
no,
the problem.
why is that a problem?
Because no fault divorce. Oh, that was my cat. That was the wind. No fault divorce. The
The
door was.
door was perfectly closed.
No, I heard it. I heard it. I heard the move. No fault divorce. Um, was kind of the beginning of the end of a lot of this stuff here because women are naturally restless and have a deep desire to burn things down. So
Oh
if
goodness, here we go.
that
You
was a
know I
joke.
don't
That was
agree
a
with
that
that.
was a joke.
Oh,
But
okay, because I'm like,
but the first
what?
part is true. I think women initiate 80% of divorces, some crazy number like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense. Things get monotonous. You're in a relationship. The man stops doing what he's supposed to do, and so you leave. Here's the thing, though. That created divorce court, which created custody, which created child support, which created the social safety nets for women who are then divorced. So I'm saying that was kind of the start of all of the stuff we have now, like
Okay,
the no for divorce. So maybe
but
it should have been easier divorce, but you still had to prove like a fault. Like, did he cheat? Did he hit you? Did he
I
But
never said no fault though.
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
You assumed that you ran with it. I was more so talking about because I obviously because I'm going through the process, I see the different categories and those other category, I would never say that no fault should be made. That should have even existed. Excuse me, because that's not fair to be able to take a man for all he's got. He can't see his kids. He can't, have rights to his own property and all of that stuff. All because you're being vindictive, or you had a master plan from jump to take this man and clean him out. That's absolutely 100,000% wrong. But if you've been abused, if you've been, I don't know, I guess cheated on, but that's another topic. But let's go with abuse. If you've
Mm-hmm.
been abused, right? I should be able to say, you know what, judge, here's photo evidence, here's text messages, here's emails, whatever the case may be. Or you can clearly see it on my body in court today and be able to say, like, this is a reason why I would like to exit said marriage. Obviously, custody and child support, that comes down to the judge too. Like if they deem it worthy of saying, it's split or it's legal or it's physical, that's on the judge. If you
Yeah.
can't come to an agreement, then it's on the judge. Child support, same thing. If you can't come to an agreement, that's on the judge. That's not really more the woman versus the man. If the judge says, okay, I feel like you should get 1,000 a month, then you get 1,000 a month. If you guys come to an agreement where it's like it's equal income and he says here's this amount, here's 500, and you agree to 500, then that's between y'all. So there's no generalizing in that sense. But like I said, things like being able to say I want to exit a marriage because I've been abused. Things like being able to say like what'd you say first? Like getting beat with an inch of a
Yeah, you can
it's
hit your
not
wife
funny, but it's
if you can
funny.
hit your wife with a stick or something, but it just couldn't be more than like an inch or 2 inches, something like that.
So
but you can hit her.
those kind of marry each other. Like I should be able to say like I don't want to be hit as a spouse if I'm not doing anything wrong and I can prove that,
But
you
what if you
know,
were doing something wrong?
that's different. But if your spouse is hitting you because they got drunk and they felt like coming home and abusing you, that's not
Well,
okay.
let me say you this: your spouse shouldn't hit you even if you did something wrong. What I was saying is,
I'm
uh,
going back based off of like the law of the land at
yeah,
that
yeah, I know,
time,
yeah. I'm saying
you
I
know.
get why women. So listen, I get why the suffragettes and the first feminists. I get why they were successful, because I think the nature of man and woman, we are complementary to each other, but we are also adversarial too. It ain't just
Mm-hmm.
love; it's love and war. So,
All right, Table
um,
Braxton.
so it's true. So it's so like there, there was a natural look. People want to be in charge of their life, or they think they do. And what you were getting
Mm-hmm.
to, I think, is the fact that y'all just don't want to work. If we being honest, like yeah,
No,
huh?
no,
Yeah, exactly. A lot of women don't want to work, and
no.
so and that's where a lot of this is coming from. But we here now, and so my only thing is we here now. And so my thing with the Tyler Perry stuff is he's giving bad advice that doesn't apply in 2023 to have a sustaining relationship. Both men and women are going to be working if you want to have anything in this world today. If you live in New York
I
City,
agree.
Los Angeles, Atlanta, it requires, for the most part, two people working. You just want to
I
make sure
agree.
that the man is making more than the woman, so that she can respect them. They just can't. It's something inside of them. They're like a and also as a man, like how can I say this in a way that doesn't get people mad? Um,
It don't matter how you say it. I'm sure it's gonna get people mad. Just say
you need
it.
to be able to be willing to. You need walk away money.
I agree.
You need to walk away money. And if you're a man and you live with a woman who makes more money than you will begin to tone down the way you feel and not say certain things because you are in fear of being homeless. But here's the thing though, women don't respect men who don't say what's on their soul, on their heart. They think they do, but in the long
Yeah.
run, women don't like yes men. Like they don't like a
We
guy
don't.
that just and they can feel that once that starts to happen more and more. And so while
Mm-hmm.
you're not saying how you really feel and how you think because you're afraid of being homeless because this woman pays all the bills, right? You're going to destroy the marriage anyway because she's going to get to a point where she doesn't respect you and she sleeps with this guy at her job because he makes more money than her. So that's just how it goes. I'm just saying this is
Not all
terrible
the
advice.
time. Not all the time.
In 90, it happens a
No,
lot.
no, you can't do that because I have my own personal story, which I'm not going to delve into, but
I got you.
it's not. It's similar, but it's not at the same time because he's always made more than me. However, he wouldn't speak on things. He wouldn't tell me how he was feeling. So yes, I will agree. Like I did not respect that because it's like now I can't communicate with you, but you still make more than I do, but you're not communicating with me.
Did you ever feel like the fact that you made less than him, you were worried to say certain things because you would be homeless?
Hell yeah.
You did?
I did. Yeah, at one point I felt like, dang, I can't speak up on things. I can't
See? And she
but
was married.
I still would. I would try, and that kind of comes down to as to how you communicate as well, honestly.
But you
Because if you're
understand though why
Mhm.
women want to like so what you just said
Mhm.
is why women wanted the ability to work and do all those things because that fear was a real fear. Like the guy would divorce you, and now what?
You're out on your butt, or you got to go back to your parents. Yeah,
And now it's like,
yeah,
wow, I'm whatever age, and I'm starting. And guys would leave their wives for younger girls back in those days a lot.
they still do it.
Yeah, but not as much as they did back then because there were just less rules. There's more rules now. So like
this,
now you really think
yeah,
about, oh man, if I leave, I'm like the phrase cheaper to keep her comes from that is that they
yes,
made the penalty for divorce where especially places like LA, like where she could have half your pension. She could have
Mm-hmm.
you know,
She could really clean you out.
yeah, which I'm not doing it. But what I'm saying is you see where these things come from though. But Tyler Perry is
Yes.
giving bad advice because it's just not sustainable. If that was sustainable, but black women probably date men that make less than them more than most groups of women. I will have to imagine. Maybe secondary to Hispanic women from Latin American countries, maybe.
Secondary or primary? Because I feel like black women in America will date men that are available and then complain about it.
Yeah, so I think black women date men who make less than them more than any other demographic of woman. If what Tyler Perry was describing was sustainable, we would have higher marriage rates and stuff. We don't. And
I
it's
agree.
because I just think just innately you have to. I'm not even saying it has to be that much more. It has to be if she's making 37,000, you got to make
At
40.
least, yeah, exactly.
Like it is what it is. As men, we can get mad at the game, or we could just become better players. Getting mad at the game is not going to change anything. It
I
just
like that.
isn't.
I like that. Yep.
So that's you have two options: become better options for the women in America, or join the passport bros and leave. Which is listen, pick it. Either one is cool with me because I'm
The
telling you,
only downside to that is with everything else is once it becomes like too not monotonous, but once it becomes the norm, then it's just like, okay, this
back to
not
square
working
one.
anymore. Exactly.
Yeah, because once too many men do it, then you're not. Yeah, you're right. You have to get on this action right now. You have to get on a plane and go. You have to get on a plane and go to one of these poor countries right now.
Yeah, because it's starting to get too
Yeah, you can't go.
normalized.
Yeah, you have to go and find you somebody, and you can't bring them back to America.
Nope.
You have to stay over there. Be the king over there.
You know, nobody really talks about like I don't want to say the fears, but like having to go to a new country as a minority. I can't. I'm not a man, obviously. I can't imagine, but I would. I don't know. That alone would kind of have me like, maybe find like a group to go with, and we all do this together. Cause like
I
I
understand
don't
what you're
know.
saying, but just men just
Yeah,
don't travel in groups like women do. Like just
true.
women are packed people. Men are more solo. Like y'all go to the bathroom together. It's weird.
I just hope that y'all just be aware, just be safe if y'all gonna do that,
Yeah, I'm
and
just
just
saying
and
though.
don't go over there complaining about black women. Just go over there, do what you gotta do,
I
and
agree. Why
mind your
would you
business.
complain about kryptonite?
How would you complain about kryptonite?
No, I'm saying if you if you leave, no, I want to be clear. I'm not calling black women kryptonite. I'm saying if you're because this is not even race specific, white,
Mm-hmm.
black, Latin, whatever. If you can't find a mate in America because you don't make enough money to get the
Mm-hmm.
woman you want, because you can find somebody, you just can't find a person you want.
Yes,
So
agreed.
if you can't find a woman you want and you leave America to go someplace else,
Mm-hmm.
why would you complain about the women back home who were your kryptonite? When you leave America and go
There's
to these other countries, you
mm-hmm.
you are Superman. American men everywhere else are Superman. We don't think because
Ah,
we are. I'm telling you, the men in most of these countries outside of America treat women like not that great. Like people don't realize this. In other countries, if you have a child out of wedlock, like that, it's game over.
mm-hmm.
It's game over. That's the case in
I'm
America.
mm-hmm.
American men are very accepting. We don't require women to be virgins. We don't require for them to not have, children, even though that, some men are
Yeah,
very iffy on that. We don't know. It's
yeah.
true. Like we don't require women to know how to do all of the feminine things to 100% like they do in these other countries. These other countries keep their women in line, so to speak. But we ain't on that time over here anymore. So when we
You have
go
to
to
also remember that those other countries are starting to do what we do in the sense of women are
Yes,
starting to speak up. So that's another thing. If you're gonna be a passport bro, just remember that a lot of these countries
but
they have feminist movements that are starting to really make moves.
the difference is they're like 100 years behind. So
Yeah.
you'll be dead by the time they end up like the women here. You
Yo,
will.
you talk about Tyler.
It's true. You'll be dead by then. So who
Don't worry about
cares?
your offspring and your grandchildren, but you're gonna be great.
Yeah, you'll be dead. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Like you have to pick your problems. And here's the thing: even if the women there get like feministy,
Feministy.
yeah, like feminist like whatever. It doesn't matter because the real thing you want to make sure is you make more money than she does, so she can respect you. Yeah, she's talking back and whatever. Like you could just in one ear or out another. But as long as you
What?
make, I'm just saying, the real thing that we're talking about here is the money. Women,
Okay.
it's just hard for women to respect men that they out earn, and it's hard for men to be who they need to be when they are with the woman who out earns them. You
Yeah.
won't have that magic when she's when she has to pay for the gas. Like we have to ask her for gas money all the time. Most of my exceptions. All men fall on hard times, and you should be
Hmm.
in a relationship where if you fall on a hard time, your woman will hold you down. If you were being a supportive and loving husband or partner,
So what
that
if
should
that
be the
same
normal
thing
thing.
happens overseas?
What talking about?
Because you're focusing more so on the money aspect. So what if you fall on hard times overseas and you now have this foreign wife who's expecting you to bring in everything?
Well, the
Then
difference
what?
though is the money that you earn it stretches farther though. So if you have a
What?
job where you what?
But what if you don't have a job where you're able to obtain
Oh
money
yeah,
that stretches further?
yeah. Then the hope is because of the culture over there where women are kind of raised to be supportive partners. You just hope that that is the case. That's not really the case in America anymore. Like women
Aren't
are
they?
raised to be
Mhm.
like workers in corporate America. They're not really raised to be partners like they are in a lot of these Latin American cultures or Asian cultures or
But
whatever.
aren't they raised to support so long as there's something to support? If there's nothing coming in to support, what are they supporting?
No, they ride over there. There's poor people get together in these countries all the time. You're just hoping that the culture over there where women are just raised to be more uh family oriented, it's just just better than America if you end up with hard times. Hard times are coming either way. So would you rather go through hard times in America where they're not really raised to support you, or would you rather go through hard times in a culture where they are raised to support you? Yeah, pick your bad.
I could be wrong in obviously I'm interested now. I'm gonna do some research, but and this doesn't account for every foreign country, obviously. But I would imagine if you fall on hard times and if your husband can't support you, wouldn't you go back home?
I don't. Yeah, I'm sure some do, but once again, there are a bunch of poor people. America doesn't realize how much of an exception we are. A lot of the world is poor. A lot of the poor people in the world get together all the time.
But we're not
Like,
talking about poor and poor. We're talking about you, not you, but a passport bro going overseas with money to spend,
yeah,
looking for a wife to support him. So if you are no longer that, you didn't come to her poor. You came to
no,
her with
but the
money to
culture,
spend.
and you're banking on the culture. What I'm saying is the culture over there is different than it is in the West. We are a lot more individualistic in the West than other countries are outside of, America and England and whatever, where they are much more family oriented. Like,
I
so
just
what you're banking
mhm.
on is that the culture saves your ass. But trust me, don't be broke too long. We broke too long. I'm just thinking Tyler Perry is giving bad advice. Um, yeah, that's just the only path forward. Men have to, black men have to up our game financially, or black men just have to leave America. You know, Those are the only two options, really. People don't like when I say that, but it is what it is.
I would say do both. Because like I said, eventually it's gonna get to a point like everything else, it's gonna become routine. So it's no longer going to be a lucrative option. So
Move
don't
somewhere
just
else. Go further east. I'm telling you, just keep going east.
just keep moving.
Yeah, keep going east. You go from here, keep going east. Eventually, you end up in. Listen, the best place to go, and we're gonna wrap up because it's been an hour and almost a half.
Mhm.
Here's the spot to go. I'm telling you, this is messed up though. I want to be very clear. There are gonna be so many single women when the war in Ukraine is over. They, dude, let me tell you something. And this is one of the problems when you have like drafts and men do all the fighting is that there's this imbalance in the gender ratios. So a
Hmm.
couple of the women are they left the country obviously and went to other countries, but a lot of them stayed. And when the war is over, if you are a man with means, Ukraine after the war with Russia, oh my God, oh oh, that's the place to go. Now I don't know how they feel about black people. A lot of you Negroes might not want to go, but for the white people watching this, no, I don't know. I don't know how the blacks will be received in Ukraine. I don't know. It seems like a very, very white country. Like I don't really see black people in any of these war videos, not one. So
That's
they might
true.
they
Yeah.
might have they might have never seen a black person in their life. So I have no idea how y'all would do over there. But if you are Caucasian in America, if you are white trash in America, and you like hit the
Oh
lottery, that's
wow.
the place to go. I'm telling you, that's the place to go.
Why white trash specifically?
No, I'm saying if you are someone who is like on the bottom of the economic totem pole in America, and you like run into some cash, and the war is like over in Ukraine, that's the place to go. That's the place to go. So, thank you for being back another week with me, Saren.
Thank you for having me. I am
Uh,
floored, yo. I'm floored.
I give me that great advice, baby. Uh,
Hmm.
any plugs you want to give out, please do them now or forever hold your peace.
Only plug I have is that the song is officially dropping on the 21st
Mm.
everywhere, all streaming platforms. Speak to me,
That's
Saren Bio.
Thursday.
Believe so.
Yeah, gotta be Thursday because September 22 is when Drake drops his album for all the dogs.
Yeah,
It is.
I wouldn't know that. So thank you for putting me on. Is it really titled for all of the dogs?
Yeah.
This man want to be hood so bad. Oh,
Huh?
poor Tink Tink. I said he want to be hood so bad.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it'll next Thursday it is dropping.
Got you. So be on the lookout for the new single coming from Saren. As I have nothing for you guys content wise other than this podcast, by the way. So please continue to support the show. Salute to the TikTokers. I am back. TikTokers, I
TikTokers.
know. Yes, the TikTokers. Please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes. Thank you to the Spotify listeners, YouTube, all of that good stuff. We will see you guys in a week's time, God willing. Be safe. Um, and yeah, deuces.
Bye.